Hey, good evening, everyone. Well, it's a weekend and my classes have started, and I have been taking two batches back to back from 9:30 in the morning, and it keeps on going around, let's just say around 5:30 in the evening. So these classes get a little hectic because I have to take care of some 40 kids, and I have two batches with an hour and break in between. But trust me, there's a kind of happiness when you interact with these kids, with the kind of questions they have, the kind of eagerness and the curiosity that they hold when they ask you for different kind of inquisitiveness that they hold. And I guess that's what's keeping me going. This is going to continue like this for another whole week of a jam-packed session of classes and teaching and all this. But the best part is, in between, I'm also doing these sessions of interacting with people from the industry, understanding their perspectives. But hey Padmini, how are you? Good to see you. Hi. One interesting thing. Have we ever thought how much does these people who help us travel, who help us see interesting locations, give us a feel good happy factor? Because if it was not for them, then we might not have been able to go stray. Hi Sakshi, yes, hi Kunal, and a lot more people who are there. What is the industry saying? Yes, Padmini, will be hearing it today. So I'm talking about people who give us that happy factor of understanding how the travel. Basically, they help us travel. They facilitate the whole idea of travel, and then they make us feel happy in a way also. Right, I'm just waiting for my guest. I guess he is already here. I'm just trying to add him. Let's just see if I can add him. Yes, I can. I'm going to just add him in a minute. So, what I was saying, when we see the hi, how are you?
Hi, Anjali. How are you?
Hi.
Having me here.
Finally, we are meeting, but e-meet, like we say.
Yes, please.
Right? It's nice to these days, these simple interactions via the world of technology in itself gives us so much of happiness. At least you say a face and you can physically talk,
Well,
even if it is
it's
a
an
distance.
absolute honor, primarily, and also it's allowing the new COVID times, as I call them, learn. It's allowing us to learn how to survive without human interaction, and
Yeah.
just using the internet to conduct our life, our business, and sharing our thoughts. Thank you for having me over, Andrali.
Thank you for saying a yes to the session, and that's a great pleasure. So, I always ask these questions to my guests who come for the session. So, first things, we have now almost crossed 3 months, I guess. So, we are almost in the 3.5, 4 months between where we are indoors and we are locked down. Somebody who is from the industry, who has always been on the move, either you're going on a survey to your property, either you're checking or going for personal vacation, but staying indoors for these 3 4 months, how did this whole thing go down well with you or not well with you precisely?
It's a reasonably heavy question, but COVID was truly a black swan like nobody had ever anticipated before. I think the definition of anybody alive on this planet, the definition of black swan stands redefined from what we always thought black swan used to be, right?
Yeah,
Uh, we heard of a tsunami a few years ago in Thailand and all,
true.
and we thought that was a black swan, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a
Mm-hmm.
reasonably small population or a reasonably small area got affected.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that this is the real black swan. Small little flutters here and there of vagaries of nature are not black swans at all. And I think that the world has come to a sudden stop. It has allowed us to appreciate and be full of gratitude as to how important it is to
Yeah.
be close to your family,
Right.
how
Yeah.
important it is to appreciate your employer, right?
Mm.
There's so
Yeah.
many people who are leaving jobs, who are having to quit their jobs, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Knowingly, unknowingly, wantingly, unwantingly. So
Hmm.
having people are losing employment. So so the last few months has allowed me to appreciate and truly understand the meaning of gratitude. That if today, after 3 4 months
Hmm.
of of lockdown and economic sudden stop,
Hmm. Hmm.
if our life is still going on and we
Hmm.
still can have an Insta live session, and if we
Yes.
can still
Hmm.
talk of philosophy,
Hmm.
because you talk of philosophy when all the other things are all right.
Hmm.
It's that God is kind on you, and it
Absolutely. I
is,
agree.
yeah, and
That makes so much.
and
Yeah.
I'm full of gratitude for my colleagues, towards my colleagues. You know, we've got
Hmm.
about 400 people working for us in various retreats of
Hmm.
ours, who
Hmm.
have just stood by us like a
Hmm.
rock.
Hmm.
We have the fact that my employer has
Hmm.
stood by us as an organization, and he's the company's appreciating what we are going through. I
Hmm.
think gratitude and appreciation of your environment is the most important thing that has been a learning for me personally.
Hmm. Okay, that's very interesting. That's nice because gratitude, I guess, understanding and respecting smaller things of life and watching them at close quarter, and like you said, gratitude. I guess that's one of the most biggest thing that has happened for a lot of us. Like introspecting also. Right. And, but we also know, I was reading through a lot of write ups that you have personally written. We also know that you have a nice philanthropy and the spiritual side to it. And that is also reflected in your brand. And for those, for our audience today, I must tell you, he has these beautiful properties across Kerala, and Kerala in itself is known as God's own country. So, anytime, be it a Thekari, be it in Kovalam, right? In Thekari, Kovalam, and all these places. And also, he has touched the Seven Sisters, that's in Nagaland, and if I'm not wrong. And so, his properties are also a reflection of the kind of thoughts that you yourself as a person you are. So, would you like to tell us about what is the basic USP? What is the messaging of the brand that's there?
Well, about 10 years ago, when we started the brand, when we launched
Mm-hmm.
Niramia as a brand,
Mm-hmm.
we we thought that we were resorts like all other places and all other brands that launch. And
Right.
very early in our journey, we realized that there has to be a purpose behind our brand,
Mm-hmm.
and we figured out that wellness has to be the fulcrum and
Mm-hmm.
the nucleus of our philosophy, around
Mm-hmm.
which we will build a formidable brand.
Okay.
We have held our course, and we have ensured that we stand by our original philosophy, and we stand by our original thought process, and we've not had anything to change. We've maintained course. We've tried to change people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried to we've tried to uh, we've tried to give a little bit back to society,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you were to ask what Niramaya stands for and what the philosophy of a brand is,
Mm-hmm.
I would call ourselves a social enterprise.
Oh.
Yeah, a social enterprise primarily stands for the it has a purpose. It has a purpose, and yet it needs to be profitable to be sustainable.
Absolutely.
Every
Bilkul.
initiative,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you do, even philanthropy, needs to be sustainable, right?
Yeah.
So we believe that our philosophy of our brand is to change people's life, to make people healthier, to make people happier, and to make people a better human being when they check out of our retreats.
Yeah. You know,
And every moment, every moment of their interaction with us in any of our retreats needs to be a healing moment.
That's amazing.
And healing in not in a particular sense of healing a wound. No, not really.
No.
Healing
I know.
of mind, healing of body, and healing of soul.
It's like internally growing and blooming as a better person.
And whenever we build any of our new retreats, we ask ourselves a question at every touch point. How is this architectural aspect? How is this aspect of hospitality? How is this aspect of the selection of our location? How is that a healing and a wellness, and how it would provide a wellness moment for our clients?
I guess Devansh यहाँ बोल रहा है it's a humbling experience to be a part of the Niramaya brand. It's absolutely. I'm sure people who work with you, who are also a part of the brand building, I'm sure they have their experiences too. I don't know कितना valid है ये question, but will you tell me exactly what is the meaning of Niramaya? जब से मैंने ये नाम, I have been always thinking कि what is the meaning? Niramaya as a name, it sounds very, it resonates with a lot of things.
Niramaya is a Sanskrit word, which means a sense of well-being. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya. That we pray that the world is healthy and the world is alive and the world is happy in every form. So that encompasses and that pretty much defines the meaning of the word Niramaya. It's a Sanskrit word. It's a very simple word. Yeah. And that's what we wanted to call our brand 10 years ago.
That's interesting. But abhi ke time pe, since travel and everything, the whole industry, I was telling before you joined in, I was telling the audience that, the industry people they are the ones who are responsible for our happiness in a large way, because you guys gave us that options to go to different places, वहाँ हम रह सके, उस जगह को महसूस कर सके, enjoy कर पाए, तभी we feel happy, we experience a place and we come back. If people like you didn't exist, then we wouldn't have been happy about going a place. What would we have done otherwise? So you guys play a great role in people who call us travelers or tourists or whatever, in making them what they are actually. Trust me. Because
thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'd like to add a little bit to that thought, because what you said was a statement, not a question. But I along with 400 other colleagues of mine, have always endeavored to answer a question. How are we being true to ourselves, to our character, to the character of the brand, and to the character of the environment, and how are we making a difference to the planet? And the profit is incidental. Profit is always incidental. If you do things right, if you try and change the world, if you try and change somebody's life, believe you me, you don't have to work for profit at all.
I agree. Okay, agree. Taken.
I can vouch for that.
I'm sure.
We are a reasonably profitable brand, but I also can tell you that we never work for it. I along with all of my army of 400 people, always try and solve for a question. How are we creating an experience? How are we creating a memory that lasts a lifetime?
I absolutely
agree. That is the reason why we have, in spite of being a leisure brand, so to say, we're not a business hotel at all, right? In spite of being a leisure brand, we have 7 to 8% people who keep coming back to us year after year after year. Yeah, they don't want to take a holiday anywhere else. because we are a home away from home. We change people's life, we heal people, and we stay the course of wellness. And we go by the philosophy that wellness is leisure. Leisure can't be peppered by a few spa massages and a few flutters of saying that you've gone for a wellness holiday. Wellness should be the core of the philosophy. And this COVID is a shock for us, but it's not something that has surprised us, because this is bound to happen. Of what we've done to the planet and how we have conducted ourselves in the last 150 years, something like this was supposed to happen.
Right.
Yeah. So we just need to realize that this is the new reality. The Earth, the Mother Earth, the planet is just healing itself.
Exactly.
And the new normal is the real normal.
You know, I always been saying this to a lot of friends or people I'm meeting. You know, we as a species, we were supposed to coexist with nature and supposed to grow together. But in the due course, somewhere we forgot this thing and we somehow thought we are the only ones to exist. And that's where the balance got disturbed. And like you say, this was bound to happen. So things need to heal, and so Earth is healing.
Yeah, an event of this magnitude has not happened on the planet for anybody alive on this planet, right?
Yes.
It's the most secular thing that has happened in the last 100 years. I mean, after the Spanish flu, and everyone's read a lot about the Spanish flu and what's happened. I think it's a great reset. It's a great learning. It's a great moment of reflection. Yeah, a lot of people will suffer a lot.
Right.
A lot of people had crossed a lot of boundary lines in various aspects of their desires, their greed, their aspirations. And I think this reset would be a great learning for 7.5 billion people on this planet.
Much needed.
Yeah. It's affected everyone. It's secular in nature.
Yeah.
The life was here. The aspirations were here. The greed was here.
Greed was leading.
The greed was here. Beauty is that everything gets reset here.
True.
And if everything gets reset here, it's fine. Because that reset is secular in nature. Yeah. So if people are losing their jobs, if people are losing their incomes, or their incomes are getting redefined, or if people have to reset the car that they drive or the house that they live, it's fine. As long as the roti, kapda, makan, human beings have three purposes in life: eating, sleeping, and procreating.
Yeah.
Right? This is really the purpose of our life, if you come to think of it.
Absolutely.
All other things are just figments of our imagination, greed, and desire that very rapidly evolved in the last 150 years. But our genetic makeup has not evolved in the last 4 million years. There has been a 0.001% evolution in our genetic makeup.
Yeah.
So a reset has happened. It has happened. It was required.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Even just as simple as that, even our phones need to be reset from time to time. So this is the bigger picture. So of course this needed it. It's just that it took a longer time. It was having its own pain. It was being wounded. It took, and then one fine day, just that whole thing burst, and it was like, okay, I'm done. I need to heal. So a friend of mine, Anamika, so she has this lovely tea garden in Dharamshala and the brand called Anandini. She's asking a question: how does Mr. Gupta manages to stay so calm? Will you please?
Well, 5 minutes of an Insta session is hardly a judgment to be passed, but
no,
yes.
The moment she seen the photograph, the poster, she was the first person who actually messaged me and say,
he looks so calm and soothing. He looks like is aligned. That's what. Let me put it that way. Yeah.
Well, 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 thank you for that. Thank you for that. I really don't know how I stay calm, but one of the things that I've realized, and I was never a calm person at all. I was a very angry person in
So
earlier years.
right. Yes. Tell me.
I was a very angry person in earlier years of my life,
Hmm.
and I realized
Hmm.
that you need to realize a simple equation.
Hmm.
Our significance of our existence on this planet is 1.14 into 10 raised to power minus 17. And I did that calculation myself. You know, we in our own life,
Hmm.
whether we try and express our anger to our families or people who accept our anger, people who
Hmm.
accept everything, we try and establish our supremacy. But in reality, we are one, at this point of time, we are one amongst 7.5 billion people on this planet in an entire humanity that, that spans 4 million years with an average lifespan of 60 to 70 years. We are such an insignificant part. And the moment you realize how insignificant you are, right? The moment you realize how insignificant you are, you become a happier human being because there's nothing to lose, there's
Hmm.
nothing, there's nothing to gain either, because
Hmm.
it's just, you're just passing by. You've got an opportunity to be a human being. You've got an
Hmm.
opportunity to go to school, to learn, to opine, to react, but you're just one among 7 billion people. How does it matter? So just stay cool, just chill, be happy, be good to people, be
Oh God.
reasonable. I mean, I'm not a
Yeah.
very reasonable person, but be
Hmm.
as reasonable as you humanly can.
Hmm.
After all, a human being is a mixture of emotion, anger,
Hmm.
happiness, personality, all of these things. But amongst all of this, try and find uh, some peace. Try and find some purpose for your life, and try and be a good human being at the end of the day, and slow down your life.
Yes, I'm coming to
Slow
that. This
down.
is honest.
Yeah,
It's
slow
so.
down your life. The moment,
Yeah.
I've come to realize that a lot of people try
Huh.
and establish their supremacy by three primary things: a
Hmm.
car, a
Yes.
house,
Yes.
and clothes. Because these are the only three things visible. Your character is not visible,
Very right.
your humanity is not visible. Those are
Hmm.
only experienced by people around you.
Hmm.
And the moment you leave love for these three things,
Hmm.
you're just like anybody else on this planet.
Wow. That's like
Yeah.
it's like a Zen philosophy. You almost made it sound so simple, but trust me, when it comes to practicality, I absolutely need to work a lot. I work a lot. Like there's like lot of gaps that I need to fill up for myself too. That's a big thing. Thanks a lot for sharing that. So, moving a little bit from the whole adhyatmic aspect and the whole holistic piece of us, the way how we conduct and everything, tell us something about what are the new strategies the brand is adapting when it comes to move ahead post the unlocked down happens, or what kind of expansions, what are the steps, what are the strategies that the brand is rebranding themselves?
Andrali, Andrali, you'll be surprised. We've not had to reset any strategy at all.
Oh.
You know, we've always, in the last 10 years,
Hmm.
we've always tried to find or solve for a question, or find an answer. How do
Mm-hmm.
we stay true? How do we stay true to the planet? How do we stay true to ourselves?
Hmm.
And when we build our retreats, we,
Hmm.
we've always tried to have a very small footprint, very little footprint. Our
Hmm.
retreats are all spread over vast swaths of real estate, and those are prime real estates. And we've never wanted to maximize on the rooms or the revenues.
Right.
Our Kovalam hotel is a 30-room hotel spread over 30 acres of land on a
Oh,
cliffside.
wow.
Now, any other brand, and with due respect to everybody on this planet, on any other brand, any other brand would on a 30-acre cliffside property would have wanted to have 300, maybe 500 rooms. We chose to have 30 rooms on a 30-acre. We recently built a new hotel in Kumarakom, and we only have 25 rooms spread over 12-14 acres of land on the edge of the Vembanad Lake. No strategy needs a reset because of a vagary of nature, because of a vicissitude of fortune. And I think I'm very lucky to be working for a company that stood by its original philosophy of making properties and retreats that are true to the planet. Today, everyone's running helter skelter. What are we going to do about our central air conditioning? What are we going to do about the 700 or 7,000 rooms that we have built in our hotel? Because the rules have changed. You can't have central air conditioning. In our retreats, you can't see one room from the other. Right? Now that comes at a cost. Allow me to finish. That comes at a cost. That comes at a cost of profit.
Yeah.
But profit is incidental to good karma.
True.
So if you ask me, what is the strategy that you've changed? We've not had to change the strategy at all. We've just held course, and we want to hold the course that we started 10 years ago. Of making some of the most beautiful, healing, remarkably spectacular retreats, most amazing spots in this country.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the only strategy is a little bit more hand sanitizer all over the place.
Well, a very weird thought came to my mind the moment you said the Kumaragram property spread over 30 acres. So I'm a person who, whenever I'm visiting so I generally prefer to stay in smaller kind of places where I could interact with locals or something, whatever. So in a huge property like that, if I'm started walking inside and I'm walking and if I got lost, I might not even know my way back to the rooms. I hope, please make sure there are people who are a little absent-minded. So they should find their way back to the room. It sounds a little like off, but yes. But I'm sure that whole spacious, that whole open space, and to see nothingness in a great way gives you a lot of relaxation. Like you said, wellness is leisure. So I guess that's what makes the whole difference. So also moving forward, do you think the whole idea of travel will change in a bigger or in a very different way since you are not re-strategizing or rebranding yourself?
I think travel used to be, or a holiday used to be about a lot of excesses. One of the most memorable things about a holiday maybe used to be a hangover, right? And people used to go out for holidays to indulge in excesses. And we always wanted to only cater to those clientele who wanted a lot more lesser. A lot more lesser from their life, a lot more lesser from a holiday, a lot more, or wanted to indulge in an opportunity to slow down. You know, the human mind operates in a usual way at about 40,000 megahertz. A reasonable holiday should allow your mind to come down to 7 or 8,000 megahertz.
Oh, wow.
But when you go for a holiday and you're always trying to capture a lot in either a sightseeing or drinking or eating, what is a holiday? Eating, drinking, sightseeing. You actually take the mental frequency a lot more higher.
Yeah, very
A
rightly put.
holiday must be about doing a lot less than what you do usually.
Absolutely, yeah.
How do you slow down? How do you not
Yeah.
move? How do you not think? How do you not talk? How do you not react to anything at all?
Mm.
And for some reason, I've always felt that the satisfaction of our customers when they come to our retreats, because maybe we are so less densely. I mean I can tell you that our retreats, we might be the only brand in the country that can say that we have the lowest density of staff per acre and the lowest density of guests per acre.
Mm.
There are not very many brands that can say that. And it allows you to slow down.
Absolutely.
You can indulge in gastronomy. If you still want to eat with a vengeance and drink with a vengeance, we are as leisure as anybody can be. But if you want a moment of calm, if you want your life to be a chamomile moment, if you want your holiday to be a chamomile moment,
Mhm.
we try and deliver that as well,
Wow.
to a degree of perfection.
At least hearing you from that Zen philosophy and getting people into a Zen mode to a chamomile moment, I can already, that kind of, I don't know, talking to you and hearing whatever you're saying is kind of soothing you down. It's kind of holding you in a much calmer space. Trust me, I mean, it's absolutely fabulous to have this discussion. And
Thank you.
moving forward, as we talk about how spacious your property is. So I've also, when I was reading and I was understanding the philosophy of the property, you guys were also highlighting, the brand also highlights a lot around the sustainability aspect. And since you are a person who, I must say, who advocates slow travel, life to slow down and to absorb and to understand where you are and feel the place, feel the moment. So tell me, what does Niramaya actually does when we talk about sustainability and on those lines aspects?
Well, sustainability also is a blue ocean. Everyone has a different philosophy and a definition of sustainability. For some brands, just getting rid of plastic bottles is sustainability.
Yeah,
For some
true.
brands, it's not changing the bed sheets is sustainability.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you do less of laundry, that's sustainability, right? Because you're using
Oh,
less,
okay.
you're using much less detergent. For us, Anjali,
Mm-hmm.
sustainability is not leaving a footprint, not leaving a carbon footprint, yet leaving a philosophical footprint on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Sustainability, absolute 100% sustainability would be when there's no electricity in the hotel,
Mm-hmm.
people are using homegrown vegetables.
Yes.
Now that's not possible when people are coming for a degree of luxury or a certain sense of comfort, right? But as far as we are concerned, for us, sustainability is trying to reduce our carbon footprint to a level that we actually become a zero carbon footprint hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got our own vegetables,
Mm-hmm.
we've got our own fruits.
Mm-hmm.
80% sugar and salt we can't manufacture, so we procure that.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else, we try and use 80% of ingrown, homegrown vegetables and fruits in our retreats.
So I'm assuming your cooking method.
We've got our own gaushala.
Oh,
We've got our own gaushala in right from cheese to milk to curd, we manufacture on our own. In fact, we manufacture so much of it that we are able to give it away.
wow.
Right? There is not a single speck of pesticide that we use anywhere in our retreats. We use the cow dung, the gobar,
Yeah.
and the gaumut as a pesticide. right? Every single herb, plant, vegetable is grown in-house. So our public spaces of garden, because we have the luxury of landscape, because we've consciously decided to sacrifice the number of rooms, right? The FAR, the so-called FAR in the parlance of the big cities, the floor area ratio. And we have decided, and we have resolved that within the next few years we should be carbon neutral on the planet. Now, even if that requires that people who come to our retreats have to do with just the breeze from the cathartic waves of the Arabian Sea, so be it. But people will realize at some point in their life that air conditioning was not required in the first place. Human body has a natural thermostat.
Yes.
To adapt to an environment. And something or the other will happen on this planet, I firmly believe. That all the modern inventions will lose their significance. Whether it's an air conditioner or a car. Human beings are not supposed to travel in cars. As I said, that our DNA is not supposed to be traveling in cars, because the DNA has not changed in the last 4 million years.
True.
So the reason why people are getting sicker and sicker in the last 100 years, whether it's cancer, whether it's diabetes, whether it's metabolic diseases, it's all man-made. It's all self-created.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have been termed as lifestyle diseases these days.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a passion. It's a passion. I know a friend in Punjab who says, if you've not had a heart attack by the time you're 45, you're not doing well for yourself. So the measure of success is a lifestyle disease. The measure of success is a lifestyle disease by the time you're 45.
I'm good without them. Trust me. I am in so-called in his term. I'm good. I'm not successful. That's it. That's like, it's good not to be successful that way. Absolutely. I guess Shobha adds here about your local cuisine, the local community that you have involved in the brand, and the local experiences. That also makes what the brand is all about, I guess. That kind of give the holistic approach, if I can say, to the brand.
So I'll tell you a little bit about our gastronomy. Gastronomy is not about a Michelin star. Gastronomy is about a lone woman in a village who's just cooked one dish all her life and cooked it to such amazing perfection. So a lot of villagers from our local geographies come to our kitchens and cook dishes for us and our guests. And that is the reason why we don't want to have a 70,000 page menu ever. I've always told my general managers and my team members to have a 1-page or a 2-page menu.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because taste is not about spectrum. Taste is about one thing that you decide to serve to your customer or your guest, and then do it to a fine art of perfection, that it becomes an art.
Yeah.
You know, we all profoundly love our mothers, and we always feel that, our mothers are great cooks. Every person feels the same. But in every geography, you'll find somebody who's just doing one thing which is so beautiful and so perfect. And that's what we do. We call people from local villages pretty much on a daily basis. And they cook a dish or two for us and for our guests. And that dish becomes the anchor dish of the day. And believe you me, no Michelin star chef.
Absolutely.
Nobody on this planet can do it better than that lady who's such an unworshipped, uncelebrated person on the planet. And, and our guests love it, and our guests like it. And we allow our guests to roam freely. You know, there is no back of the house for us in our hotels. A customer can just walk in into any door, whether it's the front of the house or the back of the house or the kitchen or the housekeeping and all. And it's it's just as if the energy is flowing all across our retreats. So we don't get surprised if a customer just walks in into our kitchen. We feel, oh, that's fine. We are cooking for him. It's just a kitchen and he's just walked in. Because there's nothing to hide. The energy, human beings, space, everything should be free flowing. And that's what we stand for in our retreats.
You know, I'll be little like, I'll take it a little cautiously, but yet say, I mean, till now, all these that we have been talking about, how the brand is, what does it do, and how pretty, how amazing, how sustainable, how spacious, with all these things, I was like, okay, it sounds like a very interesting brand, and I have to see myself somewhere. But with the kitchen part and getting those ladies from nearby local villages and getting them do dishes for you, I mean, for the guests, for the brand, and for the hotel, for the resort, I am 200% convinced that I have to someday come and see that happening, because that's that happiness of getting that done by somebody, some local hand who knows it, like you said, to the perfection, who has been doing that for decades, all through her life. It's a different happiness altogether. So, and I also, whenever I'll be there, I need a little chance to be in the kitchen too. That's one thing that I will also ask for, so that I can make my entry in the kitchen and like maybe do a little thing with this lady sometime, whenever. Yes. So, you know, I was reading the blogs that you have written and the kind of write-ups they have. I would really like to pick up one paragraph that really has stayed with me, and I've actually pasted it here. So I just saved it and I want to read it out. You were mentioning about your grandmother. There's this blog that was mentioning about, and the last paragraph very nicely mentions, don't live in gray areas. And the line that my grandmother operated her life in a binary manner, pass, fail, good, bad, right, wrong. It surprises that everything in the present world is gray nowadays. Which holds so true that we are so, it becomes difficult for us to make things like black and white and sort it out for us. So how do you make it possible for yourself? How do you do that for yourself?
I wish you'd not mentioned my grandmother and you not read my blog, because it gets me emotional.
I'm sorry.
But I can tell you that life is far more simpler than what we make it out. Right? Life is all about good karma.
True.
Good karma need not be taught.
True.
Good karma is inherent.
Mm.
A child is born at 7 pounds, 7.5 pounds. Everyone is equal. Everyone is same. We just pollute and modulate our life to a level that it becomes unacceptable for the planet. But you don't have to think or remember or work towards being right. You have to make an effort to be wrong. You have to make an effort to be vicious. You have to make an effort to lie. You never have to remember truth. Human beings are all born as beautiful creations of God. Right? We only because of the polluted melange of greed and corruption and things that are not right, we just start doing things that are wrong, and we have to make an effort for that. To conduct a life that is peaceful, right, low frequency, you don't have to make an effort. And that's what I learned from my grandmother, or all those people who were 2 generations behind. You know, their lives were far more simpler.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
they worked for Roti Kapda Makan.
Khatam.
They loved their family. They prayed. They thanked. They were full of gratitude, and they had no greed in them.
True.
Yeah. So while a lot of people in today's world, the Wall Street guys or the Sensex guys or the Nifty guys say that greed is good, but greed is the greatest poison on the planet.
True.
The world minus greed is Zen. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess, Manu, you just made this evening so much heavier and lighter at the same time, like two different, because whatever you said, that made so much of sense, and to soak in and to absorb and to go and to make it a part of your life. Yes, that's where the heavy part, but understanding the simple reality is the lighter part of it. So let's just say, as we end towards this whole session and as we move towards the ending, where is the one place that you would like to have that vacation for yourself once things get fine and you would just like to unwind, and wellness is leisure when you go by that mantra?
Really, I think I've had a good luxury and a good fortune of living in Goa for a long while.
Oh.
And ever since, I mean, my wife and I lived in Goa for 5 years.
Okay.
And I always wanted to have something in Goa for my brand. We've just recently launched, and our philosophy is very, 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 very. I mean, I won't even call our retreats small. I would call them micro. They are insignificant. We can't compete with the Tajes or the Obroys of the world. They're humongous. They're beautiful. They're amazing brands. They're too large for us. It just doesn't fit into our philosophy. I mean, I love to build a 2-room hotel. I love to build a 2-room, which is the most beautiful. Maybe a hotel is not a word, which is the most beautiful home.
You just snatched it. I was going to say, don't call it a hotel.
Yeah, it's the most beautiful home on the planet, right?
Yeah.
And yet people come and stay there. So we've recently launched a private residence in Goa.
Yeah.
And it's a 4-acre piece of land on Benolan. It just has 4 bedrooms, but it's a beachside property. And we could have built 40 bedrooms there, right? We just chose to build 4. And today, a lot of people are saying, how do you do that? How would you ever make money? But money we will make if God wants us to make money. You can't fight your fate. But if you do things right, you'll reach there. So I want to, and we launched in December. And by January, the thing started precipitating.
Right.
And I have not even gone there and stayed there even once. So my first holiday, when things go back to normal, would be my Niramaya private residence on the Benolan beach, which is just a 4-bedroom retreat.
Yes.
Spread over 4-5 acres of land. And I think that's where I would like to go with my wife and my 2-year-old daughter.
That's lovely. Yeah. That's amazing. So, I hope you able to visit Goa as soon as possible. I hope things just, the new normal becomes the good normal or the happy normal for all of us in a nicer way. And you land up in Goa in your retreat, have a good vacation, feel and just unwind, so-called. But then it was lovely chatting with you once again, I'm saying. And such a eye-opening session. You gave such interesting inputs, and you made it sound so simple. And like a friend of mine says, it sounds divine. Absolutely. With all the inputs that you shared, this made so much of sense in this time when we are fighting, or from your gratitude to anger to greed, everything just falls in place at this time of crisis.
I mean, before we end this session, I'd just like to tell everyone who's online or who's watching or who might be watching the recording later.
Right.
don't be terribly worried about COVID. Don't be terribly worried about your businesses or contraction or loss of jobs or loss of or the contraction in the economy. Vicissitudes have struck the planet. In millions of years, multiple things have happened. You know, when the asteroid struck and the dinosaurs became extinct, only then the humanity got formed. Right?
True.
And that's why you and I are here. Right? If that asteroid had not struck, maybe Earth would still only have dinosaurs.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
true.
So try and find a degree of positivity in every vagary of nature. Yeah, be good to the people around you. Be good to your team members. Be good to your employers. Be full of gratitude. If you're getting a square meal a day without having to think too much about it, you're a very, very, very lucky man. Look at what happened when the migration started. You know, this
Absolutely.
migration during the lockdown was a bigger migration than during the partition. And so
True,
many
true.
people, I mean, the stories that we heard were so brutal. You know? Yeah, just be thankful. Just be
True.
thankful. Greed is not good. Greed is not good. Greed is not God at all. God is making a difference to somebody else's life. And you don't need to be Bill Gates to do anything good. All I say is take care of your driver, your maid, and the 4-5 people working for you. Because you as a family, if you can take care of just 3 more families around you, who are people who don't come from privilege, who are hand to mouth,
Right.
you've achieved your purpose in life.
True.
So don't try to be Bill Gates or Azim Premji on this planet. Just try to be you. Just try to take care of 4-5 lives around you. You'll be a very, very happy human being. Altruism is the only thing that generates all the 4 hormones in your body.
Yeah.
All the 4 good hormones in your body. Nothing else does. When you have a drink, you have one hormone. When you have dope, you have another hormone. Right? When you make love, you have one hormone. But altruism is the only thing that produces all 4 hormones, the good hormones at the same time. So I recommend that just be as altruistic, as natural, and as good a human being as you can be, and the world will be a great and a better place.
Yes, I guess absolutely right. Very, very, very well summed up and said. And one of the audience, our guest, also said that you are weaving magic with your words. I cannot disagree absolutely with it. So I really didn't want the session to end, but then we have to. I would take out some time in near future or over whatever when I can meet you and sit and like to hear you in person at a greater length. Till then, thanks a lot for coming to the show and being a part of this chat session. Have a great evening. Take care. Bye.
Anjali, thank you very much for having me over.
Thank
God
you.
bless you, and God bless everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.